Hi everybody, it's Grandma back again. It's been a while since I've read you a story, and it's been a while since I've talked to many of you. So I found this book today. I found somebody who was giving away all of her little kids' books because I kind of ran out to ones that I wanted to read to you. And I know that you might be having the same problem because the libraries are closed and you might be getting tired of reading the same books. But this one I'd never heard about before, and it's called Just You and Me, and it's about a little gosling and a gander. And if you didn't hear that word before, a gander is a grown-up male goose who could be the dad of this gosling, and they're pretty attached, so I think maybe that's true. So if you've ever wanted to spend some one-on-one time with your dad, this is kind of like what this gosling wanted to do in the story. So let me tell you about this little gosling and his dad. It starts out with the gander giving him a little push. See how he's a little bit slow and the gander's giving him a little push? Maybe sometimes your dad has to give you a little push to get something done. And the first picture in the book shows them in the woods, near the woods anyway, and they're just going on a little walk. They're having a good time outside, which I'm sure you guys are in the spring too, but they think that it's going to start raining. So here's what they say. It says, once there was a little gosling goose and her name was Little Goosey. One day Little Goosey and Big Gander Goose, who looked after her, set out to walk down to the river. And they would want to go down to the river because they love being in the water. I have to tell you a story after this is done about some geese that I saw today. Anyway, here they are walking along, and they hear something. It says they hadn't gone far when the wind began to blow, and Gander Goose looked up at the dark clouds racing across the sky and said, "A storm is coming. We'd better find a place to hide." "A nice warm place just for me and you?" said Little Goosey. "Just us," said Gander Goose. "A place where we can rest until the storm is over." And they hurried into the woods looking for a place to hide. "Will there be thunder when the storm comes?" asked Little Goosey. "Well, yes, there would be some thunder," said Gander Goose. Have you ever heard thunder? Sometimes it's pretty scary. It's exciting, though, if you get to see the lightning. Well, here they have found a little hiding space, but it looks like somebody's already there. Looks like a little mouse is already hiding in there. So what do you think they're going to do? Will they stay with the mouse? It says, soon they found a hole in a ditch, but there was someone in there already, a small gray-whiskered mouse. She was hiding from the storm, too. "You can stay in here with me if you like," said the mouse. Should they stay in there with the mouse? Little Goosey whispered to Gander Goose, "I don't want anybody else when the thunder comes. Just me and you." See him hiding underneath the gander, under his wing? He just wants to be one-on-one with his dad. Sorry. Let me get this page to turn. Gander Goose thanked the small gray-whiskered mouse. "It's a bit too damp in here for us." See, here he is talking to the mouse, and he makes up an excuse. It's not really the reason why they're not staying, but he says, to be polite, "It's a bit too damp in here for us. You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye." When the other two had gone, the mouse saw some wet moss growing on his walls. "It is a bit damp in here," she thought to herself. "I'll look for a better place too." So the little mouse goes out and she decides that she's going to look for another place to hide because after the gander said her place was a little damp, she scampered off to find a new place also. Well, look where they go next. They found a little place under a tree, but looks like somebody is already staying there as well. Little Goosey and Gander Goose went farther into the woods looking for a place to hide. They found a hole among the roots of a tall tree, but there was someone in there already, a squirrel with a high, proud tail. "Would you like to stay in here with me?" said the squirrel. "These guys are really nice." Little Goosey whispered to Gander Goose, "But I don't want anybody else. Just you and me. Did you ever feel like that? You want to be the only one? Well, same thing happened. Gander Goose is going to make up a reason why they can't stay there, because he knows that little Goosey wants to stay with just him. Gander Goose thanked the squirrel with a high, proud tail. I can see daylight above our heads, he said. You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye. And when the other two had gone, the squirrel looked up and saw the sky through the trunk of the hollow tree. The rain could easily run in through that hole, he thought to himself. I'll try to find a better place too. So off goes the squirrel to see if he can find a better place when it starts to rain. Well, they go to one more place. It says Little Goosey and Gander Goose ventured farther into the woods. They found an interesting cave among the rocks, but a rabbit with furry ears had found it before them. We could all stay here together if you like, said the rabbit. That rabbit is really nice to invite them in. What do you think Little Goosey's going to say? Little Goosey nestled into soft feathers of Gander Goose and said quietly, I don't want there to be anybody else when the thunder comes. Just me and you. He feels really safe with his dad. So, Gander Goose is going to tell another story about why they can't stay. Gander Goose thanked the rabbit with furry ears. There are too many stones in there for us, he said. You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye. When the other two had gone, the rabbit couldn't find a space to lie down comfortably. It is too stony in here. She thought to herself, I'll look for a better place too. And off goes the rabbit because she thinks maybe that spot wasn't the best place. Maybe she better go look for another place too. Well, Little Goosey was beginning to feel tired after all that searching for a place to hide. But then they found a hole beneath a bush at the bottom of a hill. Here's where they're going in, just underneath a little bush to get out of the rain. This looks like a good place to be out of the storm, said Gander Goose, and there's no one here. Just us, yawned Little Goosey. That's what he was hoping for. She made a tunnel under some blown-in leaves so that she wouldn't hear the thunder if it came, and she lay down to sleep. I didn't know Little Goosey was a girl. There they are all nestled in together. Can you see? All snuggly. But who is this? Who's down here? There's a little mouse, a little squirrel, and a little rabbit looking for a place to get out of the storm. Well, pretty soon, the storm arrived. A great wind blew through the trees, and the rain came down. In the fields and in the woods, no one could be seen, for they were all hiding from the storm. Can't see anybody out there, can you? Leaves are blowing. The rain is coming. I know you guys have had a bunch of rain lately. Even the kids in Arizona have had some rain. The dark clouds passed over. The wind died down, and soon the skies were clear again. Little Goosey blinked in the ray of sunlight shining into the hole. Then she heard someone behind her. Who is behind her? Who do you see? This is a good place to hide from the storm, said the little gray-whiskered mouse. It was, agreed the squirrel with a high, proud tail. A very good place to hide from the storm, said the rabbit with the furry ears. They're all inside the same bush with the Gander Goose and Little Goosey. The mouse, the squirrel, and the rabbit waved goodbye and then ran off into the woods. This was a good place to hide from the storm, Little Goosey laughed, for all of us. Gander Goose looked out at the trees, still dripping after all the rain. It was. And now I think we'll walk down to the river, he said. Because remember, that's where they were going before. Just us? Asked Little Goosey. Gander Goose smiled and said, just you and me. And they had a little visit down to the river all by themselves. It was kind of fun for them to have their friends with them during the storm, even though they didn't know. And here's a picture of them going down to the river. Just the two of them. Anyway, I thought you might like that story. I have to tell you one little thing that happened to me. I have a new puppy. and I took him to the dog park, but the dog park isn't open because of the virus. And so we were just watching all the geese, and there was a bunch of geese that laid some eggs on this island. And normally when the dogs are running loose, the geese don't like to stay there. But this year, the geese really did like to stay there, and we saw 2 geese swim by, and they had 30 goslings following them. 30! I did not even know that a goose could lay 30 eggs and have them all hatch. Maybe they borrowed some from some other geese, I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd tell you that story. It was really cool. I wish I'd had my phone there to take a picture. Anyway, if you like this book, I will have it at my house. If you come and visit me, we can read it again. Bye-bye until next time.